put the Gangster Disciples on the American agenda again tonight. Last night we reported on how this street gang in Chicago was making a fortune selling illegal drugs.
Who is Larry Hoover, Chicago's street king and boss of the Gangster Disciples? Chicago has a long history of gang activity, with the Gangster Disciples being one of the notorious and powerful street gangs in the city, led by Larry Hoover. The Gangster Disciples controlled large portions of the city's south and west sides during the 1970s and 1980s. Hoover, also known as King Larry, was born in Jackson, Mississippi in 1950. At the young age of 4-year-old, his parents moved the family to Chicago, in Illinois. By 13, Larry was already running the streets with a gang called the Supreme Gangsters. The crew was known for local muggings and theft before evolving into assaults and shootings. Hoover would quickly move up the ranks. In the late 1960s, he was complete control of the gang, changing their name to the Gangster Disciples. Still in his early 20s, but well on his way being one of the most powerful gangsters. Despite being incarcerated since 1973, Hoover was able to maintain control of the gang through the communication with members on the outside. However, in the late 1990s, federal authorities cracked down on the Gangster Disciples and other gangs, bringing on the end to Hoover's reign. Today, the Gangster Disciples continue to operate in Chicago, but their power and influence have greatly less power. Understanding the history and the inner workings of the Gangster Disciples and the leader, former Larry Hoover, is crucial for understanding the ongoing problem of gang violence in Chicago and other urban areas. For decades, Larry Hoover's imprisonment has been surrounded by controversy and debate. Some argue that Hoover has been able to maintain control of the gang from behind bars, using intermediaries to communicate with members on the outside. Others believe that Hoover has been unfairly targeted by law enforcement and that his imprisonment is a violation of civil rights. The debate of Hoover's imprisonment had also been influenced by his reputation in pop culture as a charismatic and influential leader, with some seeing him as a Robin Hood figure who used his power to benefit his community. Regardless of one of his perspectives, the controversy and debate surrounding Larry Hoover's imprisonment highlight the complex and nuanced nature of gang activity and the criminal justice system. While Larry Hoover's imprisonment had been a significant event in the history of Chicago gang activity, the impact of his incarceration of the community is so great. Some argue that Hoover's incarceration has a positive impact on the community by reducing the level of violence and criminal activity associated with the Gangster Disciples. Others say his continued influence over the gang, even from prison, has precipitated a cycle of violence and crime in Chicago, as well as other communities around the country. Experts also believe that the incarceration of such a high-profile gang leader can have a disruptive effect on the gang structure and hierarchy, leading to increased violence as rival factions compete for power. The impact of Larry Hoover's incarceration on Chicago's community is complex and multi-faced and requires a nuanced understanding of the dynamics of street gangs in America. Over the years, there has been concerted effort by advocates and celebrities to try to get Larry Hoover freed from prison. Some believe Hoover's trial and sentencing were flawed and that it has been denied as fair evaluation of his case. They also claim he also been a model prisoner since the incarceration. In 2021, Kanye West and Drake joined forces for a concert in support of the release of Larry Hoover. The Amazon-sponsored concert, which was held in the LA Coliseum in Los Angeles, California on December 9, was orchestrated by Jay Prince, who encouraged a reunion between the two feuded rappers. Hoover has previously asked the courts to reduce his life sentence under the First Step Act, which allows people who have been convicted of crack cocaine offenses to challenge their sentences, but the judge denied the request last year. In letters written by Hoover, he expressed remorse of his actions, but will still have to pay the price for them.